Story 1. The Vintage Laker. There is a specific kind of adrenaline that comes with finding a too-good-to-be-true deal online. My name is Alex, a 20-year-old photography student with a nervous habit of biting my lip and a tendency to trust people far too easily. I had been scouring Craigslist for months, looking for a Leica M6. Usually they go for thousands, but I found a listing for $500. The description was brief. Old camera, inherited, don't know if it works, cash only. Must pick up tonight. The address led me 40 minutes outside of the city into a patch of woodland where the streetlights eventually gave up. I pulled my beat-up sedan into a gravel driveway leading to a dilapidated farmhouse. Waiting on the porch was Silas, a tall, gaunt man with a raspy voice and eyes that never seemed to blink, wearing a grease-stained jumpsuit that smelled of copper and old oil. "You the camera kid?" Silas asked, his voice sounding like sandpaper on wood. "Yeah," I said, clutching my envelope of cash. "Can I see it?" He nodded slowly and gestured for me to follow him toward a large, windowless barn behind the house. As we walked, I noticed the farmhouse windows were all boarded up with plywood. My gut told me to turn around, but the thought of that Leica kept my feet moving. Inside the barn, a single bare bulb hung from the ceiling. On a wooden workbench sat the camera. It looked pristine. But as I reached for it, Silas didn't step back. He stepped closer, blocking the path back to the door. "You alone, Alex?" Silas asked, his unblinking eyes fixed on my throat rather than my face. My boyfriend is in the car," I lied, my voice trembling. Silas chuckled, a wet, rattling sound. "No, he ain't. I watched you pull up. Just you and that little sedan." Suddenly, the heavy barn doors creaked shut. From the darkness of the stalls emerged the shadows, a group of 3 men wearing dark tactical gear and heavy boots, their faces obscured by black gaiter masks that left only their cold, predatory eyes visible. "The camera is bait, kid," Silas whispered, his raspy voice now dropping to a low growl. "We don't care about the 500. We care about the car, and we care about making sure no one knows you came here." One of the masked men stepped forward, brandishing a heavy roll of duct tape and a zip tie. I didn't think. I reacted. I grabbed the heavy Leica camera and swung it with all my strength at Silas's face. The metal thudded against his temple, and he slumped sideways with a groan. I bolted toward the side of the barn, diving through a small animal hatch I had spotted earlier. I heard the heavy boots of the shadows, the 3 men in tactical gear, thundering behind me. I scrambled through the mud, thorns tearing at my jeans, and sprinted toward the woods instead of my car. I knew they'd have the driveway blocked. I spent 6 hours hiding in a hollowed-out log, watching their flashlights flicker through the trees like angry fireflies. I didn't move until the sun began to peek through the canopy. I eventually found a main road and flagged down a passing trucker. When the police raided the farmhouse, it was empty. My car was gone, stripped for parts in a nearby county 2 days later. They never found Silas or his crew, but they did find something in the barn that haunts me more than the chase. In the corner, under a tarp, were dozens of cell phones and wallets. I never got my Leica, and I never buy anything off Craigslist unless the meeting point is a police station parking lot. Story 2. The Free Sectional. Moving into your first solo apartment is supposed to be a milestone. For me, it was a lesson in why free is the most dangerous word in the English language. I'm Chloe, a 24-year-old graphic designer with a penchant for thrifted decor and a cautious nature that I clearly ignored the day I saw the ad. The listing was simple: beautiful gray sectional, free to a good home. Must pick up by 6 p.m. or it goes to the dump. Curb alert. I borrowed a truck and headed to a suburban neighborhood that looked perfectly safe. The couch was sitting on the curb in front of a pristine 2-story house. I didn't even have to knock on the door. I loaded the pieces into the truck, feeling like I'd won the lottery. That night, as I sat on my new couch in my studio apartment, I felt a lump under the cushion. I reached down, expecting a lost remote or some loose change. Instead, my fingers brushed against something hard and rectangular, taped deeply into the inner frame of the sofa. I pulled it out. It was a GPS tracker, the the light on the side blinking a steady, rhythmic red. My heart skipped a beat. Why would a free couch have a live tracker taped into the frame? I flipped the couch over, grabbing a utility knife to slit the black fabric underneath. As the fabric gave way, a small, handwritten note fell out. "See you soon, Chloe." They knew my name. But I hadn't given the posters my name. I had messaged them through a masked Craigslist email. I felt a cold sweat break across my neck. I ran to my window and looked down into the rain-slicked parking lot of my apartment complex. Standing under a lone street lamp were the watchers, a group of 3 figures wearing grey hoodies and blank plastic masks, standing perfectly still and staring directly up at my 3rd-story window. I backed away from the glass, my breath coming in ragged gasps. I realized then that the curb alert wasn't about getting rid of furniture. It was a delivery system. I had literally carried the bug into my own home. I called 911, my voice shaking as I explained the tracker and the men outside. While I was on the phone, I heard a faint sound from my front door. Scrape, scrape, scrape. Someone was sliding something under the door. I approached it slowly, the 911 operator telling me to stay on the line. A small Polaroid photo had been pushed through the gap. It was a picture of me, taken through my living room window just 5 minutes prior. On the back, written in the same neat handwriting as the note in the couch, were the words, "We like the way you arrange the pillows." The police arrived 4 minutes later. The sirens sent the watchers, the 3 masked figures in hoodies scattering into the dark alleyways behind the complex. The officers searched the area, but found nothing but a discarded plastic mask. When they traced the address from the Craigslist ad, they discovered the house was a for-sale property that had been vacant for months. The people who put the couch on the curb didn't live there. They had just used the lawn as a stage. I moved out the next day. I left the couch in the middle of the empty apartment. I don't care about the security deposit. I don't care about the furniture. Every time I see a free sign on a piece of furniture now, I don't see a bargain. I see a Trojan horse. And sometimes, late at night, I still feel like someone is tracking my every move, waiting for me to sit down and get comfortable.